Your life isn't hard. That's the problem. You're not starving. You're not falling. You're not losing anything you could point to. You wake up in a climate-controlled room, your food arrives when you ask for it, and the strongest adversary you face most days is a slow Wi-Fi connection. And somewhere under the surface, you've noticed something is off. You're not in pain. You're stuck in the narrow band between pain and meaning, comfortable enough not to change, empty enough to know something is wrong. That band has a cost. And it's the same shape as your life. The pattern is older than neuroscience. In the year 63, a Roman philosopher named Seneca wrote a letter from the resort town of Baiae, the Las Vegas of its day. His point was blunt. The people there had everything they wanted, and they were weaker for it. Our luxuries have condemned us to weakness. That was 2,000 years before any brain scan. The modern data says the same thing, with better instruments. 3 facts carry the whole case. 1. Your brain, at rest, uses around 20% of your total energy. It is wired to conserve effort wherever it can. 2. In the absence of challenge, adaptation stops. This has been known since Hans Selye's stress research in the 1930s. 3. When comfort is always available, the dopamine system that signals meaning begins to drift lower, not higher. Every one of these findings contradicts the advice still being sold at scale. Here's how comfort erases you, step by step. Step 1. A cue of effort appears. The cold morning, the hard conversation, the line of work that would cost you something. Step 2. Your brain runs a fast cost-benefit check. Effort is expensive. Avoidance is free. Avoidance wins by default. Step 3. You take the easy route once, 100 times, 1,000. Step 4. The circuits you didn't use thin out. The threshold for effort climbs. What was uncomfortable yesterday is unthinkable tomorrow. Step 5. Dopamine, the signal that something matters and requires attention, stops firing because nothing does. Robert Solomon and John Corbett documented the mechanism in 1974. Repeated reward without cost drags the baseline below where it started. The system asks for more, just to feel normal. That's the finished process. You are not unhappy. You are not in pain. You are slowly becoming someone who cannot do hard things. And because doing hard things is what builds a self. Someone who isn't much of a self at all. The part that isn't obvious is this. You assumed comfort was the opposite of suffering. It isn't. Comfort is the opposite of adaptation. Your nervous system is not built for ease. It is built for intermittent challenge followed by recovery. Hans Selye named this principle in the 1930s. Eustress, the stress that builds. The stress your body needs to stay in working order. Strip that stimulus away, and the system doesn't drift into peaceful neutrality. It degrades, muscles atrophy, bones thin, attention fractures, mood collapses. And here is the cultural trap. Modern wellness has reframed avoidance as virtue. Listen to your body becomes quit the moment something feels hard. Self-care becomes never be uncomfortable. Mental health becomes minimize friction. The research disagrees. A 2014 meta-analysis by David Eakers found that behavioral activation, forcing engagement in difficult action despite low motivation, matches antidepressant medication for the treatment of depression. Rest does not. Engagement does, which means the protocol you were taught for feeling bad is On average, the protocol that keeps feeling bad going. Anna Lemke, a Stanford psychiatrist who wrote Dopamine Nation in 2021, describes the same trait from a different angle. Pleasure and pain run on the same scale. Every time you lean heavily toward one side, the scale tips toward the other. The shortcut has attacks. The solution is old. The evidence is new. Around 170, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius deliberately chose plain food, simple clothing, and physical hardship, not as penance, as training. He understood that access to every comfort would erase the only self he cared about building. 18 centuries later, Andrew Huberman at Stanford put numbers on the same principle. 1 to 3 minutes of cold water exposure around 14 degrees Celsius elevates dopamine by roughly 250%, sustained for hours. Without the crash that follows passive pleasure, Stoic Rome and a neuroscience lab agree, managed discomfort, chosen voluntarily, behaves like medicine. But the principle breaks when it's mistranslated. Wim Hof's extreme breathing protocol has been linked to at least 3 reported drownings after practitioners lost consciousness in water. Hustle culture weaponized the same idea and produced a generation of burnout. The mechanism is sound. The dose is everything. Chosen, short, bounded discomfort heals. Imposed, endless, unmanageable discomfort destroys. These are not the same thing. But this isn't really about cold water. It's about contact. The reason discomfort matters isn't that pain is noble or that suffering is good. It's that resistance is the only reliable signal you are still alive, still moving, still adapting, still someone the world gets a say in. Remove all resistance, and the signal fades. You stop being shaped by anything, which means you stop being shaped at all. Comfort is not the enemy because it feels good. It is the enemy because, eventually, it feels like nothing. And a life that feels like nothing, over time, becomes one. The cost of a life without friction isn't measured in what goes wrong. It's measured in the person you would have become from passing through it. Epictetus put it 2,000 years ago in one sentence. Men are disturbed not by things, but by views they take of them. He meant this as freedom. You are not at the mercy of how hard the morning feels. You are at the mercy of the story you tell about it. Comfort rewrites that story quietly. It tells you resting is care, scrolling is deserved, hard action is for some other week. And the cost it extracts is not paid in one large sum. It is paid in small installments of nothing. Each day the difficult thing is deferred. Each month the person you were going to be drifts slightly further out of reach. So the honest question is simple. What have you been calling rest that was just avoidance? Your life isn't hard. You know this by now. The narrow band between pain and meaning is warm and quiet, and it will absorb every one of your remaining decades, if you let it. Every week, another piece of the machine that works, the one that moves people, not the one you were sold. Subscribe. The next one might be the one that finally lands.